What's up, operators, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at two different pistol holster locations in TAVR and discussing the advantages and disadvantages of each one. Now, before we get into it, I want to clarify that this isn't a which one is best or this one is better video. As an infantryman, the main thing I learned is that gear setup is incredibly personal. What works for one person might not work for another, and the most important thing is going to be consistency and repetition in your drills and your training. With that being said, let's take a look at these two holster locations, the chest-mounted holster and the belt-mounted holster. This is probably the setup most people immediately think of when they picture a sidearm holster. This pistol will sit lower on the body and leaves more room available on your chest rig for magazines and equipment. Coming from an infantry background, I appreciate how naturally this position fits in the overall load-bearing setup. Your equipment stays distributed across your body rather than concentrated in one area. The main thing I notice is that it can make the front of your kit feel less cluttered, especially if you're carrying multiple magazines or utility items. The trade-off here, though, is simply that the pistol is slightly farther away from your line of sight. Depending on your movement, body position, and familiarity with your setup, locating the holster can take a little more practice compared to the chest-mounted configuration. Again, though, that's not a flaw, it's just a different placement that requires its own repetition and its own muscle memory. Next up is the chest-mounted holster. This position places the holster high up on the chest where it is easily visible and accessible. One thing I immediately noticed when running this setup is how easy it is to find under stress. Since the pistol is directly in front of your body, your hand doesn't have to travel very far, and visually locating the weapon is as straightforward as slightly looking down or even having it in your peripheral. In TAVR, this can be particularly useful during close quarters engagements where you're rapidly transitioning from your primary weapon to your secondary. The trade-off, however, is that your chest real estate is really valuable. That's where you'll put your magazines, your medical equipment, your grenades, and other mission essentials. Depending on your loadout, a chest mount can compete for space with those items, requiring you to be deliberate about your equipment. Again, though, not necessarily just something to consider when building your kit. When comparing these two setups side by side, what stands out isn't that one is objectively better than the other. Instead, they solve the same problem in different ways. The chest holster prioritizes accessibility in front of the body, but the belt holster prioritizes keeping the chest area open and distributing equipment elsewhere. Both allow for effective weapon transitions, both can be fast, both can be reliable, and both can become second nature with enough training. That's something that applies both in TAVR and in the real world. Consistency matters more than chasing that perfect setup or trying to copy whatever thing you saw online. Whatever configuration you choose, spend time practicing with it until your movements become automatic. So in conclusion, at the end of the day, TAVR gives players a lot of freedom to build their kit in the exact way that they want. That's one of the things I personally enjoy most about the game. I'd be interested to hear about what you guys run. Do you prefer a chest-mounted pistol, a belt-mounted, or something completely different? There's a million different ways to do it, and I'm curious to see what you guys do. Drop your setup in the comments below and let me know why you chose it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and check back for more VR content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next mission.